الأنبياء والمرسلين الخلق وأعز المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين، سيما بقية الله روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآله. Dear mu'mineen and mu'minat, brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بأبي عبد الله الحسين عليه السلام. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts as we continue to remember and commemorate the calamities that came upon the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. One of the very common terms used in the Quran to describe the believers is the term mu'min. In fact, there is a chapter 23, is titled the Surah Al-Mu'minun. This concept of mu'minun, or the believers, has been there throughout the Quran in different ways. However, the term has more than one depth to it, or one meaning to it. We cannot limit the term to a simple faith or simple belief, to say one is either a mu'min or not mu'min. That is limiting it, and that is against what Quran in fact proves to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, for example, in one of the ayat, in fact, it's very frequent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran says, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu, or you who believe. And it's important to reflect when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing us, what does He want to say? In fact, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, it is narrated that whenever he recited Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu, he would say Labbaik Allahum. In other words, yes, Ya Allah, I'm listening. Tell me, what is the message for me? Unfortunately, many of us, we read it and we do not pay attention. In any case, one of the ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu, aminu. O you who believe, believe. Therefore, it is very clear that there is one level of faith which is the initial submission, iman. And then there is a deeper level of faith. That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, aminu. Or when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Mu'minun, He says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Mu'minun are victorious, successful. All of them, He describes them then. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ, the ones who are humble in their salat. They have the presence of the heart in salat. So the question I have here, is every believer humble in his salat? Are we all humble in our salat? Do we all have khushu' in salat? And if the answer is no, the next question is, then are we not mu'minun? It is very clear that here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is introducing levels of iman. One level is a very basic level. That is in fact we're reminded of the same concept when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَالَتِ الْأَعْرَابُ آمَنَّا in Surah Al-Hujurat. He says the Arab said, we believe. Say you did not believe. You have submitted. Faith has not penetrated your heart. وَلَمَّا يَدْخُلِ الْإِيمَانُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ. It did not get into your hearts. Yet when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, does it include those who submit? Yes, it does. Therefore, we're looking at different depths. On the one level, anyone who says La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad is a believer. He's a Muslim. Believes in the Day of Judgment and says the Shahada, is a believer. Yet, according to the riwayah from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he does not pray, for example, is he a Muslim or not Muslim? Jurisprudentially, you treat him as a Muslim because he said the Shahadatain. Yes or no? However, according to the riwayah, he's not a Muslim. Why? Tariqus Salat is a kafir. Imam Ali alayhi salam once was asked about Iman. Somebody wanted to clarify. He says, if somebody believes in God, the angels, malaika, the books, the messengers, the Quran, the Day of Judgment, are they a believer? The Imam says, what happens to the fara'id? Huh? What happens to the obligatory acts, the wajib acts? Aren't they part of the belief? In other words, yes, we can accept them as a Muslim on a jurisprudential level, but unless they are fulfilling their duty as a Muslim, they are not a real Muslim, and they have not gone to their real Iman. And Iman goes further and further, deeper and deeper, in fact. One level of Iman, again in a hadith from Amir al-Mu'minin salawatullah wa salamu alayhi, he says one level of Iman is what you have in your heart. The next level of Iman is when you bring it on your tongue. You say it. And the higher level of Iman is when it shows itself in your action. When it displays itself in your actions, when you are submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the do's and don'ts that He has prescribed for you and I, that is when we have reached the higher level of Iman, within which there are levels as well. Even in that, there are levels. One of the riwayat, and we're approaching the Arba'in of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, one of the very famous narrations, in fact, this particular riwayah is used by our ulama by our scholars to prove the significance of Arba'in. Unfortunately, there are some who come and question the whole thing. And it's important to bring this up, my brothers and sisters. It's important to understand where do we stand when it comes to these practices. Is it a wajib act? Is it mustahab? Is it mustahab fi aynih? In itself is mustahab or generally mustahab? It's important to assess and understand. It has become a topic recently, and believe it or not, the enemy is watching very carefully, and when they realize the importance and the significance of this event of Arba'in, they want to attack it. They cannot stand it. It's so big, it's so huge, it's changing the world, in fact. It's affecting the world. Therefore, they have to destroy it. So now they have come and said, there's no authenticity for this Arba'in. And unfortunately, we have some speakers, I don't even want to call them scholars, because a scholar should be wiser than that. Even if it's a scholarly debate, you don't bring it up on a satellite channel and start bringing these things up. In any case, so where is Arba'in in the riwayat, they ask you? Number one, the significance of Arba'in is very clear. I'm not talking about Arba'in now just about Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Arba'in as a number is very clear. The number is significant in the Holy Quran, not just regarding days or nights, but also as a number. There are some numbers that have significance. An example of that is the number of heavens and earth. Sab'a. The number 7. It has significance. Now, what is the significance in the creation? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose this number to be the number of the heavens and the number of the lands? Samawat al-sab' wal-aradin al-sab'. Or the number of the days. Why did He choose this number? Why did He choose the number 12, for example? You have, for example, in the Holy Quran so many times, not just once, the number 12 getting repeated. Besides the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, you look at the Quran, you have the numbers of the months to start with. إن عدة الشهور عند الله 12 شهرا في كتاب الله يوم خلق السماوات والأرض. From the day He created everything, He decreed that the number of the months is 12 months. That was decreed already. There are some similarly other 12s. The 12 fountains, for example, or the 12 springs of Bani Israel. They have when they complained to their prophet and they wear the asmat. In any case, one of the significant numbers is Arba'in itself. It's one of the significant numbers in the Quran. Examples of that is not just regarding the nights, regarding the completion of 40 years, for example. فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَبَلَغَ 40 سَنَةً. When he reaches his, in fact, rushd in the Quran is 40 years, maturity, mental maturity. When he reaches that. Another one is the example of the nights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made an appointment for Nabiullah Musa ala nabina wa ali wa alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When he says وَوَعَدْنَا مُوسَى 30 لَيْلَةً وَأَتْمَمْنَاهَا بِعَشْرٍ. Amazing. The promise was 30, but we completed it with 10. So the completion had to be another 10, and that is فَتَمَّ مِيقَاتُ رَبِّهِ 40 لَيْلَةً. It was completed, that appointment with his Lord was completed with 40. The number is there. In the narration regarding Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the narration says that the heavens and the earth and the angels and everything cried for Imam Hussein alayhi salam for 40 days. Numerous narrations, in fact, in Wasail al-Shia, Mustadrak al-Mustadrak also mentions the riwayat, numerous ones. One of them that says that on the day of Ashura, whatever pebble you would move, there would be blood. And after that, the heavens cried with their redness, with their humra, and different things, the heavens, the earth, the angels, and so on. The 40. The narration from Imam al-Askari salawatullah wa salamu alayhi, in fact, confirms this specific. Now we're speaking in general. Coming back to the topic of ziyarah, when they question it, in general, ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is recommended anytime. To do it at any time. It's always recommended. Yes, it is mostly recommended at certain times of the year. For example, Ziyaratul Nisf min Sha'ban, the 15th of Sha'ban. One of the most recommended deeds is to go and do ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Arafah, the day of Arafah. If you're not in Hajj, one of the most recommended deeds is to do ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. There are some specific days. One of them is ziyarah of Arba'in, which is the discussion. Imam al-Askari salawatullah wa salamu alayhi, he has a narration. He says there are 5 signs for a believer. Alamatul mu'min khams. Coming back to the original discussion on mu'min. As I said, there are levels of iman. Some believe, but it's very shallow. Some, they have a higher level of faith, and it shows itself in their actions. For instance, when they stand to pray, they're humble. This is part of the description given in Surah Al-Mu'minun. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. And it goes further. There is one level of iman that the Imam is describing in this hadith. This level of iman is specific. It is not for everybody. It is specific for those who follow the school of Ahlul Bayt salawatullah wa salamu alayhim ajma'in. This description, in fact, is given. It's a specific one. In what regard? Throughout the history of Islam, before Imam al-Askari salawatullah wa salamu alayhi, there was distortion of the sunnah, of the tradition of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In fact, there were jurists who called themselves imam, faqih or imam, who would deliberately give their fatwa opposite to what the imams would give. So if the imam says, you pray with your hands down, they say, no, you fold them. If the imam says, imams of Ahlul Bayt, if Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that in your wudu, you do wiping over your head, they don't know, you wash. If they say in your hajj you wear your ihram over your shoulders, they say no, you expose one shoulder. You see those differences? It was deliberate. Oppose them deliberately. Since the imams of Ahlul Bayt are doing this, we do the opposite. Why? They wanted to cause difficulty for the followers of the imams and single them out so that they are identifiable, so that people and guards and so on can identify them. Unless they live in taqiyya, unless they practice taqiyya, otherwise they will be easily identified. You're praying in the masjid, hands down, there you go. You're doing hajj, you're doing tawaf, shoulders not displayed, there you go. It was deliberate. Therefore, there were some traditions that in fact were changed completely, distorted and changed completely. They were doing the opposite. So the Imam says that there are 5 signs for the believers. Here it's specific for those who oppose the opposition. Opposition of Rasulullah we disagree with. So those who maintain the traditions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, despite the difficulty, despite the persecution that was happening by the khulafa, the leadership of the time, the kings or the tyrants of the time, those who maintained that, they had these signs. So this riwayah is referring to a specific group, signs of a specific group. Al-mu'min here, mu'min biwilayat Ahlul Bayt, biwilayat Amir al-Mu'minin salawatullah wa salamu alayh, and al-a'imma al-ma'sumin, the Imam Amir al-Mu'minin and the Imams after him. This is the specific group the Imam is referring to. So he says there are 5 signs for these people. One of them, which is one of the very famous one, is that when they pray in their salat, they do jahr bi Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. When they pray, they don't whisper Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, rather they say it loudly. Why is that? You'll find that, unfortunately, the school of the opposition again, and when I speak of opposition, I'm not talking about the opposition of the tyrants. No, opposition of Rasulullah. Those who wanted to oppose the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, if the Imam says his Bismillah loud, their fatwa would be, say it quiet. If the Imam says Bismillah is part of Surah Al-Hamd, they say it's not part of it. In fact, this is a discussion, debate. And unfortunately, there were at some point, they were printing Qur'ans with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen is number 1. Now you open the Qur'an, you'll find most Qur'ans, at least nowadays, I would say 99.9%, if not all of them, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is the first ayah of Surah Al-Hamd. Surah Al-Hamd or Surah Al-Fatiha is 7 ayat, as-sab'ul mathani, 7 ayat. The first ayah is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. There was some period that they were printing the Qur'ans with Bismillah not being the first ayah. In fact, the first ayah they made it to be Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And to achieve 7 ayat, they divided the last ayah, Sirat al-Ladina an'amta alayhim, they stopped that, put number 6, and then غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين as number 7. Deliberately took it away. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, at his time, he says this enemy, Amadu, they targeted the greatest ayah in the Holy Quran to say it's not from the Quran. Again, opposition. For the sake of it. If in Salat al-Dhuhr, Imams of Ahlul Bayt say to their students, you have to say Bismillah loud. Even in Salat that is ikhfat. In Fajr, we say all the surah loud. Dhuhr and Asr, we say them quiet, yes? But Bismillah has to be loud. Even in Dhuhr and Asr, Bismillah has to be loud. And then you come back to Maghrib and Isha, the entire thing, including Bismillah. You'll go to some of the masajid or many of the masajid of the opposition again. And Allahu Akbar, He might go quiet for a second and they'll start, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Where did Bismillah go? This is one of the signs of Al-Mu'min, Alamatul Mu'min Khams. He says one of them is to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim loudly. That's one of them. Another one of the signs of the believers, and I'm not going in the order of the riwayah for a reason. He says another one of those is to wear at-takhattum bil-yamin, to wear your rings in your right hand. Now it was very famous and very, very popular and well-known tradition that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to wear rings. It is known. There is no debate about that. In fact, there are narrations about what was written on his ring, on the gem that is on this, the stone that is on the ring. It was a tradition that they would engrave something. For example, Al-Izzatu Lillah. That's one engraving. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, on his ring, there was one of them written, Alimta fa'amal. You know, therefore act. Don't just keep it as knowledge. No, act on it. Alimta fa'amal. Very simple, very, very deep. So these are, now, it is known that the Prophet used to wear. So which hand did he used to wear it? Opposition says left hand. Subhanallah. It was known that he wore it in his right hand. No, wear it in your left hand. And they give fatwa with that. And then because it's very obvious, you know, they take the whole thing out. Now you look and you'll find that many of them don't even wear it. Either wear in the left or don't even wear it. Leave it all together. And they single you out. I was myself in Mecca or in Medina at the time. And some of the guards standing by, they were talking to each other, thinking that by my dress code, they assumed I was Persian for some reason, whatever. So they were talking to each other in Arabic, saying, look at this ring, and look at these mushrikeen, and so on. So when I finished, I came and spoke to him in Arabic. He was shocked. I said to him, if the ring is sunnah of Rasulullah, how did you make me mushrik? And he was shocked. He couldn't say anything. So they have continued. They have a problem up until today. You wear a ring. This is one of the signs. The Imam says, one of them is at-takhattum bil-yamin. One of them. Another one of them is ta'fir al-jabin. Ta'fir is the action of putting something into the soil, basically. Or in the common language, they say dirt. I don't like the term dirt because it might be mixed with something else. The soil, turab. When you do ta'fir with turab. An example of that in jurisprudence, in fiqh, is if a dog licks a plate that you eat from. Before you wash it, you have to do what? Ta'fir. In other words, you have to clean it or rub it with soil. This is part of the purification process. Okay? So this is called ta'fir, when you rub something with soil. One of the signs, according to the riwayah of a believer, is that they do ta'fir. In other words, they put their forehead on turab. They don't put it on carpet, for example. They put it on turab. Part of the significance, which I've discussed in another discussion that we had, which is the closest thing to what we were created. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خَلَقَكُم مِّن تُرَابٍ. This is the turab. It's a reminder that we were created from this. In fact, part of the philosophy of sujood, according to Imam Ali alayhi salam, is to remind yourself that you were created from turab. You go to the sujood and do sujood on turab and remember you were created from it. So one of the signs is that we do the sujood on the ta'fir al-jabin. Now ta'fir is rubbing. Sujood is one thing, but it is recommended, and I strongly suggest my brothers and sisters in Iman, when you do sujood after salat, sajdat al-shukr, do ta'fir. In other words, rub the forehead, the sides and the front, rub it with the turab. In fact, this is one of the signs of humbleness. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. One of the signs of humbleness is to rub the forehead in turab. Not just put it on it, but also rub it. According to the narration, Nabiullah Musa ala nabiyina wa alihi wa alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose him as the messenger, he chose him because of his humbleness. And the narration says because when he used to put his forehead in sujood, in prostration, he used to do ta'fir. He would put his forehead and cheeks, not just the forehead, but also the cheeks. He would put them on turab, in humbleness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That He created me from this. Like a plant, we came out from this turab. Subhanallah, it's another discussion altogether, how we come and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us come from basically this, what we see, the turab that we see, the water and the dust or the turab that we see. That is one other sign of the believers. One of the signs of the believers, according to this riwayah, is وَزِيَارَةُ الْأَرْبَعِينَ. Before I get just so that we mention all of them, as-salat 51, which is many of us miss it. And perhaps it's something we need to all make an effort. 51 rak'ah in a 24 hours is recommended, and it's one of the signs. You see how it stages? Some of us, we do some of those, but we don't do all of them perhaps. One of them is the Salat 51, 51 rak'ah, including the 34 mustahab between Nafilatul Layl and Nafilatul Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, and Maghrib and Isha. The Nafila for those, including the 17 rak'ah, is 51 rak'ah, which is one of the signs of the believer. The last one, last but not least, not in the order of the narration in any case, is Ziyaratul Arba'in. One of the signs is Ziyaratul Arba'in. This one shows that it is not something that is made up by somebody, no. Now, whether historically Jabir made it on Arba'in or not, because some try to say, well, he did not make it then, but there is a narration. Now, you want to say it's weak, it's a different story. Whether historically he made it then or not, but we know the significance of the 40. And we know the significance of the 40 days, the heavens and the earth and the angels crying for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Authentic narration. And this narration saying that one of the signs of the believers from Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, one of the signs of the believers is Ziyaratul Arba'in. Now they want to destroy it. You see how the enemy is targeting the most significant part of the faith. They see how effective it is and how strong it is. And they see the effect of it not just on a group of people who go there. Some of them may go and have a transformation for themselves. It's great for them in that sense. Some of them may just add to the number, which is significant, but it may not work as a significant part for them in their own lives. That depends on what I want. It's like, what do I want from Salat? Do I want to be khasha in Salat, humble in Salat, or do I just want to pray? Get it over and done with. Do I want the siyaha part of ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the touristic part, and the sightseeing part, or the cultural part, or do I want a transformation? Do I want that islah that Imam Hussein alayhi salam intended for me? That would determine whether my ziyarah is accepted or not. Nonetheless, the effect of it on the individuals who want the effect is very clear, but it is a worldwide effect. Out of a sudden, the qadiyya, as we say, the matter of Imam Hussein, the story of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is no longer bound to Karbala or centers of Shia speaking of it. That is why, despite all the numbers, it is only very few satellite channels or TV reporters that speak of it. And it's our duty to actually speak more of it and spread it. But it is making it, despite the efforts to not make it very famous and very popular, it is making it to mainstream media, slowly, slowly. And it is affecting the world. They cannot stand that. They try and not allow the mainstream media to, because you know who's controlling it, or at least we should know. So they try not to allow mainstream media to get into it, and at the same time they try to question it from within and weaken us from within so it doesn't happen. But I say they can do whatever they want. Zainab Salamullah alayha said it to Yazid back then. She said to him, فَاسْعَ سَعْيَكَ, you try your best. وَنَاصِبْ جُهْدَكَ, you make all your efforts to wipe out our memory. But you will not be able. She says to him, فَوَاللَّهِ لَا تَمْحُوا ذِكْرَنَا, by God, you will not wipe our memory. You will not be able to. This is the same as when they attack the character of Rasulullah. And I say to the people, let them do whatever they want. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised him, He says, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. It's a godly promise. We raise your name, they can do whatever they want. The memory of Imam Hussein is the memory of Rasulullah. Husaynun minni wa ana min Hussein. Their name is together. Their fame is together. And the raising of their memory and name is by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, nobody can put it down. Nobody can wipe it. This is a reality. And every year it will be bigger. By the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This peaceful march, the very peaceful, it actually transforms everyone, at least for that period. There was somebody who mentioned, and I'm not attacking anybody, but in general, the nature of the Iraqi culture is not very soft. It's a little harsh. The environment is harsh, the way they talk. But in the time of Arba'een, everyone is soft. Unbelievable. It changes everybody. There is a little bit of friction between the Arabs and the Iranians, yeah? Generally speaking, Persians. But in the time of the Arba'een, they become lovers, literally. Now afterwards it may change, but at least for that period of time, they become lovers, subhanAllah. If we can maintain those, if we can maintain the culture of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the love that we love each other for the sake of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, inshallah, year after year, this will become bigger and it will become continuous. That through it, this peaceful march will destroy the tyrants in the world, will destroy the thrones of Al Saud and the rest of them. All of them will be destroyed, inshallah, through this very peaceful march to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It was done in the time of Imam Hussein alayhi salam at that same year with Zainab Salamullah alayha and Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. After the curse, Yazid eventually could not keep them any longer in the city of Sham, and he sent them. He said, go back to your city, the city of Medina. And he acted on the surface respectfully. He said, you can go back now. They departed and they were going to the city of Medina. They decided that they want to go to Karbala, according to some narrations, that they want to go to Karbala before they go to Medina and farewell, once again, say the goodbyes this time to the graves of their beloved ones, because they left them, they were still on the ground. There were still left bodies without heads on the ground of Karbala. At least this time coming back, they were coming back to the graves and the shrine of the Imam, salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. Narration says at the same time, it was Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari who came to the ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He got there with one student and a servant. Atiyah was with him. He narrates, he says he made his ghusl. Then he asked me to take him to the grave. He could not see well anymore. He said, take me to the grave of my beloved, to the grave of Hussein. He took him to the grave. He says to him, help me touch the grave. He puts his hand. As soon as he feels the grave, he throws himself on the grave of Imam Hussein. He starts weeping, Hussein. He says he said it loudly and he fainted. I woke him up, he said it again, Hussein. Again he fainted. He says, I woke him up, he said, oh Hussein, a lover is not responding to his lover. Habibun la yujibu habiba. وأنى لك بالجواب. How would you answer me, oh Hussein, when they have separated between your body and your head? As they were at the grave, Atiyah says, we saw some people coming from far away, thinking it might be the guards of the cursed Ibn Ziyad. Jabir sends his servant, he says, go and find that who is coming. He goes and comes back, he says, Master, oh Jabir, this is the family of Imam Hussein. هذا زين العابدين قد أقبل مع نساء أهل بيت رسول الله. He says Zainul Abidin alayhi salam is coming with the ladies of the family of Rasulullah. Jabir comes to welcome them. Jabir stands as they approach each other. Imam Zainul Abidin greets him and he says to him, Ya Jabir, this is the land, pointing at every part of the land. Ha huna qatalu rijalana, ha huna ahraqu خيامنا, ها هنا سبيت نساؤنا. Oh Jabir, this is where they killed our men, they killed our master Hussein. Oh Jabir, this is where they burned the tent on top of us and the children. This is where they took us as prisoners. The ladies of the family of Rasulullah started going to the graves of their beloved ones. Zainab Salamullah alayha goes from one grave to another. She goes to the grave of Imam Hussein. Perhaps she is complaining to him, oh Hussein, you were not with us. When they were beating the children, I had to protect them. When they were beating your daughter, oh Hussein, I had to protect them. You were not with us, dragging us from city to another. Then she goes towards the Alqami, she goes towards the river bank, towards the grave of Abul Fadl. Perhaps she's saying to him, "Oh Abul Fadl, you were not there to help me ride on the camel. They put us on camels without saddles. Oh Abul Fadl, you were not there to guard me and guard the children." لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم، إلهي بمحمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين وبالتسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين، استجب دعواتنا يا الله. اللهم ارزقنا توفيق الطاعة وبعد المعصية وصدق النية وعرفان الحرمة، وأكرمنا بالهدى والاستقامة. O Allah, help us be in obedience to you, far from disobedience. O Allah, mu'mineen and mu'minat who are unwell, grant them the quick recovery, Ya Allah. O Allah, mu'mineen and mu'minat suffering under oppressors and tyrants, grant them the quick relief and victory, Ya Allah. O Allah, mu'mineen and mu'minat who passed away from our gatherings, our ancestors, those who passed away from our ancestors and parents, O Allah, all of them, grant their souls your mercy with the rewards of what we recited, as well as the rewards of Al-Fatiha ma'a as-salawat.